So today I'm going to clear a few facts up, as well as probably eliminate some misconceptions or perhaps warped views. Today I'm going to look at what it really takes to get in shape after 40. First thing we need to address is, what do I mean by in shape? Because in shape is very subjective. What might be in shape to someone might be average to another. So how we're going to define in shape today is by what the main goal is for just about all of my online clients. Today, I've coached and successfully transformed over 3,000 individual middle-aged men from the globe over to their goal version of in shape. So to these thousands of guys, when I perform an initial onboarding video call with them and ask them, what do they want to achieve? The biggest percentage of them define in shape as visible abs, developed muscle mass, creating what we refer to as an X-frame, broad shoulders, chest and upper back development, tapered waist and developed legs to create an X-frame. And with having abs, of course, comes low enough body fat percentage that definition and muscle separation is visible across all muscle groups of the physique. That's what most men consider in shape. And of course, from that, varying degrees of further development across certain muscle groups or more extreme levels of conditioning and lower body fat percentage can be sought to only solidify being in shape even more. So that's what we're going to look at today. How does a guy 40 or over achieve that physique, that conditioning, and critically important in my view, maintain it day in, day out? What does it actually take? A large percentage of guys, once they hit that 40-year-old mark, and in some cases younger, feel like it's literally impossible to get in that shape now that they're this age. They feel their body is now working against them and it's a hopeless cause. In turn, they regress. Then there's the other camp of guys who are determined not to let that aging thing get them, so they look to train harder, doing more. And in spite of all their efforts, at best, they are just slowing regression. Both types of guys are regressing. For the biggest percentage of middle-aged guys, very, very few continue to progress. The biggest percentage of guys are just in a state of varying rates of regression. But that's just aging, right? Well, yeah, but it doesn't have to be. But before you can turn things around and start progressing instead of regressing, we have to be truthful with ourselves. Park all ego and realize that the game has changed for us. What we are not is 20 anymore. Therefore, what worked for us in our 20s will end up working against us and running us into a world of complications sooner rather than later. What it really takes to get in shape after 40, above anything else, requires the absence of ego and the adoption of intelligence in everything you do. So in this video, I want to briefly look at what it takes from a training perspective, a nutritional perspective, and lifestyle perspective. Then from 3 key health market perspectives. The statement I'm about to make, I say quite a lot because it applies to a lot of factors, but this statement applies here to the training side of things more than any other area. And that is, what used to work for you in your 20s will not work for you now. First, your recovery demands have changed and continue to increase. Orthopedic considerations must be factored into your approaches. The risk-reward factor of training has shifted and needs to be carefully balanced. The only way, at any age, not just in your 40s, to see epic results is being able to stay in the game, to keep triggering effective training stimulus to a scheduled consistency. If we brute force it, thinking more is better, go harder, you're gonna run into recovery issues or injuries, and both will put you out of training, and as a result will have you regressing. And regression past the age of 40 is not pretty. It's fast, cruel, and unforgiving. Now, I've done a full video on this topic itself, what your training needs to look like past the age of 40. Please go back and watch it after this video. In that previous video, I go into all the changes that need to be made, as well as what consistencies you need to keep. But briefly, right now for this video, I'll recap that video's main points. Training past the age of 40 means favoring training intensity and frequency over training volume. What does this actually mean? As we age, recovery demands increase. We often need more and better quality recovery compared to what we could get away with when we were younger. Yes, nutritional factors, sleep, hormones, and stress management all contribute to your recovery capabilities. And even if all perfect, regardless, recovery over the age of 40 is not going to be as effective as when you're in your 20s. High amounts of training volume, as in the amounts of work that you are doing in a single session, will beat you down quicker than the other variables, intensity and frequency. To see ongoing results past 40, your training needs to favor high intensity. Working sets performed to absolute true all-out contractile failure. Yes, this is taxing and places demands on our recovery capabilities, but performed across low amounts of actual volume per session is an effective method when paired with performing high frequency, meaning in a lot of cases, training the same muscle group more often, spreading your total training volume out over multiple training sessions instead of clustering it all together in one singular weekly session. Please go back and watch the video, what your training needs to look like past the age of 40. It will give far more in-depth explanation as well as address other critical training factors that I'm not going to cover here today. Okay, so next is nutrition. Fact, nutrition has changed for you now. Calories in versus calories out in the form of energy balance, that's still the same. Sorry, there is no escaping that. That saying that the only sure thing in life is death and taxes should also include calories in that saying somewhere as well. But what has shifted is the importance of the types of foods that make up your calories, as well as your macronutrient ratio requirements. First, realize as we age, your body, for a number of reasons, finds it harder to keep lean muscle tissue. I'll cover a few of those reasons soon. So with a physical state that can easily lose muscle, your protein requirements have to increase to maintain it. That increase is just from the viewpoint of maintaining current lean muscle tissue. I'm not even talking about growing more of it yet. First nutritional change is your protein requirements right up. Typically for my online middle-aged clients, that looks anywhere between 1.8 up to even 3 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, sometimes even higher depending on individual requirements. So that in turn means the total amount of fats and carbohydrates need to decrease to make room for the increase in protein requirements to work within your set daily calorie value. Next is the realization that what you make your calories and macros up of matters big time. Sure, you might be able to make your favorite treats work within your calories. You might be able to make a Big Mac combo and ice cream fit. But what's not accounted for is the health effects that processed foods have on your body. While you might have been able to get away with these types of foods, fitting them within your calorie values in your 20s, now in your 40s, the repercussions are higher. And ongoing practice of this will work against your body functions, including the processes responsible for physique changes. Foods that disrupt gut bacteria, foods that increase inflammation responses, foods that negatively impact your hormones, all might be able to fit within your calories and macros, but are not going to benefit and help your physique changing goals one bit. Here's the biggest rule I have with my clients when I design their meal plans. The foods we eat, while they should most definitely be enjoyed, should first and foremost have a nourishing and supportive effect on your body. So here's the hard truth. Past the age of 30, your testosterone levels are dropping every single year by 1%, and that's if you're healthy. But you take the typical guy who's made poor lifestyle choices over the years, eaten poorly to averagely, drunk, drugs, had fun, lived. That decline is likely a lot sharper. Why this is a problem? Because apart from a whole host of health effects, testosterone is key to being able to put on new lean muscle tissue easier, being able to hold lean muscle tissue and maintain it easier. It seriously helps promote a leaner physique along with helping boost mood, drive, and motivation. A man with high levels of test is a man on a mission. A man with low levels is unmotivated, often with very little drive. So as you're past 30, your natural test levels are lower than when you were in your 20s. One of the key reasons now it's harder to get in shape. So what can be done about this? Well, depends how low your levels actually are. If you're a new client of mine and after conducting a full initial lifestyle audit, if I suspect test levels are low enough to be an issue straight away, I'll request my clients get blood work done. And if they are low enough, testosterone replacement therapy becomes an option, working alongside with their GP or through a doctor that we can refer to use this approach to get testosterone levels back on their side and working with them instead of against them. Even if the client's initial test levels don't appear to be a potential issue, we'll still use nutritional and lifestyle as well as recovery protocols to help naturally boost an individual's own test production and support its function within the client's body. Whether we go down the path of working with them while they are on TRT or not, hormone levels are always considered and factored into each client's approach. If you want to be sure you're going to reach your in-shape goal, being aware of your testosterone levels as well as other anabolic hormones that we won't cover today is absolutely key. If you're not one of my clients, take responsibility, get blood work done, be aware of your levels, and look to put means in place to get these on your side. This is critical. Many middle-aged guys, due to it all seemingly coming to a head at this point in life, have less than optimal gut health. What this means is hosting an imbalance of good versus bad gut bacteria. And it's this imbalance that can cause some significant issues with how energy is derived from food, how it is broken down, how it is utilized, and how it is stored. For a lot of middle-aged guys, the state of their gut and digestive system is working directly against their body's transformation efforts. And this can be in spite of them feeling like they are doing everything right. An important note here. Not only could this be making it incredibly hard for you to lose weight and or gain lean muscle, but it could also be setting you up for a number of potential health problems down the track. So how do we get this on your side? Two angles that I take with my clients with this issue: nutritional and lifestyle. Most of us have less than optimal gut and digestive health due to poor nutritional choices that we've made over the years. These have now added up and have come to a head. The most effective and long-lasting way to get things back on your side is through corrective nutrition, using nutrition prescriptions that we built into a client's transformation approach. In a very simplified summary, look to support good gut bacteria through gut-supportive foods, while starving out the bad, with the elimination of foods that support bad bacteria growth and inflammatory increasing food. Getting in shape past the age of 40 requires that your gut and digestive health be working on your side. Okay, so this one is interesting, one that many guys have no idea about, but it is a huge contributor as to why we age, our strength levels, they drop, and we lose muscle tissue. For muscle to be stimulated and undergo growth, the fibers that make up the muscles must contract under a load or weight. During a weight training session, strong signals originating from the brain must travel down throughout your nervous system, pass over onto the muscle fibers, causing them to contract on demand, resulting in you lifting the weight. A strong, healthy nervous system allows for strong, uninterrupted signals to travel from the brain to the muscle, generating forceful muscle contractions that involve a large percentage of the muscle fibers being stimulated with growth. Now, over time, the nervous system itself can lose nerve cells, while other nerve cells can decrease in size. Consequently, nerve cells may begin to pass messages more slowly. This is one of the reasons we get weaker as we age and begin to lose muscle mass, because the signal strength decreases, resulting in not as many muscle fibers contracting. Due to less muscle fibers engaged, less external weight can be lifted. Over time, muscle fibers shrink in size due to not being involved in the muscle contractions. So, how do you take care of your nervous system? First, making use of training types that increase blood flow and force your nervous system to be used consistently through routine stimulation will help promote ongoing functionality, health, and effectiveness. Second, from a nutritional viewpoint, I'll make sure my clients' daily necessary macro and micronutrient requirements needed to help support the nervous system and its function is in place, keeping it in good health and able to readily transmit messages within the body to effectively maintain function, as well as insist in maintaining the nerve's own protective structure. Keeping your nervous system in good health and optimal functioning is key to both maintaining and generating new lean muscle growth once past the age of 40. So here's the thing. The reason it was easier to see results back in your 20s, even in your early 30s, is because all those factors that I just covered, you didn't have to worry about. When it came to your training, there was so much room for error. And in a lot of cases, the more is better approach, it kind of worked. Nutrition was so much more forgiving. Yes, you still had to hit calorie values and macros, but the types of foods that made up those macros had minimal negative effect compared to how they do now on your physiological functions. And those health markers, hormones, gut health, your nervous system, by the way, there is a few more, but they're lesser in comparison, and we'll cover them later. But these factors or concerns you didn't even have to consider back in your 20s. Now, all of this, all those covered factors are literally make or break to you seeing results and progressing. I want to be super clear here though. Have these things accounted for. Have them carefully factored into your training, nutrition, and daily lifestyle approach, and be consistent and purposeful in keeping and getting everything working with you instead of against you. You can be producing results like you're in your 20s again. I hope you guys have found this video helpful, at least insightful. If you have, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and all that sort of stuff. That way you can be sure not to miss future videos that we're dropping weekly. And remember, if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section, or even reach out to me on other social media platforms and ask away. My other social links are in the description. I'm always happy to help, or at least point you guys in the right direction.